Hello everyone, how are we this afternoon? Let's see, we've got some chatty chattersons here already. Let's see who we've got. I'll just scroll all the way back up to the top and start from the beginning. So we've got Cal. Hello Cal. I see you're hurting a wee bit today. I'm sorry to hear that. We've got Green Hat as well. Yay! Nice to see you. Green Hat's having one of those days where everything is proving harder than it needs to be. I am also having one of those days, so I think we're all kind of in good company here, aren't we? Oh, it's all fun and games till someone loses an eye. What's happened with Cal? Our son's had a meltdown. Hi Thea, how are you? A Green Hat. We had rain today. We that's quite funny. We are sick of the rain already. I got wet not once, not twice, but 3 times this morning, which is why my hair is piled up on top of my head, and there will be nothing else happening with it for the rest of the day. I went for a run, got wet, and when I came back, I knew I had to go into town this morning, so I was like, I'll wash my hair, you know, like shower after a run, wash my hair. So washed my hair, dried it, took Pip and Jock out, got wet again. And then went into town and got wet for a third time. So I was like, balls to this. So that's it, like done, fed up. The weather's really screwing with us just now. It can't make up its mind what it wants to do. And it's really annoying, and it's not very warm in the evenings now. So yeah, we're not having a good time, but I am so glad you guys have got rain. Like, that is the best news, because I know that some of you have been really struggling with the weather. It's just not fun at all. Oh, Ulrika, hi! Gem and makeup. I do have makeup on today. I know it's not something I do very often. I just felt like I felt as if I had to like make myself like human after getting wet 3 times. So yes, I do. I've got a little tiny bit of eyeliner, and I've got some mascara on, and I've got a little bit of lip stain on. So yeah, thanks for noticing. That's nice. Looking fabulous. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm trying to make up for not feeling fabulous. I feel as if like I complain about this every single stream now. I'm really not feeling myself. I'm not firing on all cylinders. I am going back and forth for like medical appointments, which I don't really want to talk about at this stage, because truthfully I don't really know what's going on. I am not ill per se, but I am not myself at all, and I'm perfectly aware of that. And I've had a chat with my work about it and stuff as well. I'm still functioning, but I just feel like today I just feel really lethargic and just, yeah, like really demotivated and not as enthusiastic as I normally am as a person. And I've been quite grumpy as well. Like outwardly grumpy. Normally I keep my grumpiness to myself. Anyway, that is by the by. I'm glad to be here. The stuff that's happened this week, we're just having problems with harvest and one thing and another, which is just the weather. I have tidied the cave up a wee bit. I don't know if you can see back here. I have done a lot of sorting out and tidying here. I just felt as if things were getting really cluttered, and it was making like my workspace feel quite chaotic. So you can't see what's out of shot, but this whole wall here, there's a set of shelves along at that end, which is where most of my art supplies live. So I've tidied all that up as well and sorted it all out, did some dusting, and the desk adjacent to the one that I film on, that's where I tend to keep the work in progress stuff, and it kind of like turns into a bit of a dumping ground. So I've cleaned that up as well. There's still a lot of stuff sitting there, but it's organised, and I've lifted all the things that I've just kind of like, you know, plopped down there, and then just generally tidied it up. So all that's left to do is the packing station and the stash shop shelves, which again have become very chaotic unintentionally, and it's super out of character for me to leave things like that. So I've just been kind of working through that the last few days, and I think it's kind of in a bid to like make myself feel a little bit better as well. So that's what's been going on. I've dropped from 4 runs a week back down to 3. I'm not coping with 4 runs. I think part of it's just because I'm not feeling right. Did an 8 and a 9+ mile run on Sunday, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And if that had been my first run as a beginner, I would never have wanted to run again. I literally like I had to stop to relieve myself at one point. I just needed to pee. But I was questioning what I was even doing, and I was like this close to just phoning Mr. Jem for him to come and pick me up. Like that's how bad it was. So anyway, sorted that out, went for a really, really gentle 3.5-ish mile run this morning, like just a little plod, and felt okay. So I'm glad for that, because there's always this fear, see when you have a horrible run, and it does happen, we're humans. But you have a horrible run and then you worry that you're gonna have nothing but horrible runs and you're gonna hate running all of a sudden. So glad to say that didn't happen this morning. So that's good. Anyway, in the vein of clearing up, tidying up, kind of reorganising things, we have a task to do before we do any arting today, and I mentioned it a while back in the Friday night stream. I have in front of me the case of Derwent pencils, which includes my Inktense pencils. I want to sort them out and put them in some sort of colour family order, because it is just chaos, and it hasn't bothered me up until this point, but the cave's just been bothering me in general along with everything else. So we're going to do that first. I don't have a set order that I want them in. As long as they're like in loose colour groups, it's fine. But they're absolutely like, they're just all over the place, and I don't want to do it anymore. So that's where we're starting today. I know that's not terribly exciting as a place to start, but here we are. And it's just something that I've not really prioritised. I've not had time to do it. So we're doing it. One of the things about this, and the reason it's happened, like number one, look where all these gaps are. But when they brought out the new colours, I just kind of like dumped them in at the back of this this pencil case. I nearly called that a pillowcase there. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those days. Okay. I didn't integrate them in with the other pencils, so that's kind of like half of the problem. So I would like to rectify that situation. So you can see this was probably the framework of the original lineup. But I've got all these pencils in here, which some are ones that I've used and some are which like the newer colours. But I've got oranges. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just gonna again, a good Scottish word for you today. I'm just gonna howk it all out, and we're gonna start from the beginning. We have to use our brains. No, you don't have to use your brains. Oh, Ulrika, are you and I like little kindred spirits just now? Big hugs back to you. Cal's desk's got a pile of stuff about 2 feet high. Oh, that would tip me over the edge. Weird out of sorts feeling. Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I was trying to explain it to my boss at work, who's awesome and I get on really well with. She's like a sort of big sister type figure. I've worked with her a long time. And I said to her, I feel like this, or this is what's wrong. I just feel like the. So yeah, not really not really great. But hello, Jeanette, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us this fine afternoon. Or well, here it's not so fine. Needs to stop raining. Yeah, but glad you're here. The voices are arguing over who had my last functioning brain cell. Good grief. Yeah, that's a bad chat, that. Anyway, right, so let's pull all these out and get going. I'm going to try and set these down quite gently. I realise that because the microphone sits on the desk, it's quite sensitive. And I don't want to blow anyone's eardrums out if they've got headphones in. That would be extremely rude. So in terms of art stuff, just while I'm doing this, I have options for you to choose from this afternoon. The obvious one is to continue on with these Inktense pencils and go back to the ink house and go back to Charlie the cheetah. I did finish the leaves that we were working on. If you remember, that was when I was getting excited about the mint coloured pencil. So we can go back and do a bit of that. I've also got the scrapbook page that I was working on. I have finished the right hand page, so it's just the left hand page that we want to start making it look fancy. So we can do that. Or we've got the 3D printed fairy cup mug house. Quite happy to pull out the acrylic paints if you want to see me doing a bit more of that. I don't know how exciting that is to watch, to be honest, though. So if anybody has any preferences, let me know in the chat, and we can decide what we're doing once I finish sorting out this monstrosity of a pile of pencils. Hello, Martine. How are you? Physio class this morning for about an hour and then an hour and a half on the bus home. Ooh, that's a lot, isn't it? Decision making now. Well, you've got loads of time. There's a lot of pencils to sort out here. I don't need any imminent answers, but you can ruminate over that for a while. Hi Anna, how are you? Nice to see you. No, we haven't seen you for a wee while. Sure we haven't. Right, I think we're kind of like in a loose order here. But see, when you see all these pencils, it gets a lot of pencils. Okay. Righty McCoho. Right, so I'm just going to pop the actual case to the side for a wee minute. I don't know whether I need my glasses on or not here. I don't think so because we've got dipped ends. That should be fine. I did make a point of going and getting my glasses before we started. I'm just going to move this camera a wee bit. Oh. Okay, yeah. Hi Sue, how are you? Nice to see you. Pass Art have 40% off Derwent at the moment. They've also got 40% off Karen Dash, which I took advantage of. I ordered myself, I sneaked myself some of their pastel pencils. I'm sure most of you know they're really expensive, and I just pick up a few every now and then. So I thought, well, they were on sale, I would just grab myself a couple. So I am waiting for that package to appear at some point. Rika's going to open a Cas Arts tab. No, there's no enabling going on here, not at all. Right, okay, so I'm gonna have that's kind of turquoise, that doesn't it? I was gonna say greens, blues, you know, like we're going in loose colour families here, and then we can work it out from there. This is sherbet lemon, which is looks green on the dipped end, but it's not. Reds and greens and all the rest of it. That's one thing that I find quite interesting is with the Derwent Inktense pencils specifically, I am not that bothered about them being in a certain order. Whereas with my normal pencils, like say my Polychromos and my Prismacolors, I like them to be in the manufacturer designated order. I don't know why that is, and I don't know why that doesn't apply to the Inktense pencils, but it just doesn't. I've stopped questioning things like that. That's just the way my brain works. So yeah, so this is, to be fair, this is going to be quite a chill affair. It's not like, oh no, this pencil's like one place wrong to the left. You know, there's going to be none of that. As per usual, I've got Jock here. I'm sure you heard him plodding about there. He's just changing positions. What have we got here? Fern and neutral grey. So Fern's technically green. Got a grey pop over there. So I've got pink, orange and red together up there. I've got my yellows down here. I suppose I can put... No, let's keep the turquoise one separate. Then all my brunes down here. My brunes. It's just art therapy supply buying a grief. I don't know why that was so difficult. He ordered from our local art store, wanted to wait initially for the Polychromos, but you know, salty. We've got Mary as well. Hey Mary, how's it going? Brune. That's one of Mr. Jem's favourite words to try and say with a Scottish accent, which is getting a lot better. It used to be terrible, but he's been here long enough now. He likes to say brune, and his other one is our little flying friends. They're birds. I don't think I pronounce it like that, but according to him, I do. I say birds. I don't think I do. I think I say birds, but there you go. I'm not going to deny him a little bit of fun. Having such a thick accent as he does, a very thick Northern English accent, I'm very impressed that his Scottish accent's coming on. It's taken long enough. Call them yellows. Eve. Ulrika doesn't have to worry about checking which pencil she has. You have a spreadsheet. There was a comic called The Bruins, is still very much alive. So there's the Bruins and Urwully. So Urwully is our William. So, you know, you talk about like your little boy or your, you know, whatever. There is a Scottish newspaper on a Sunday called the Sunday Post. And in the Sunday Post, there is a comic strip, and one is the Bruins. and that is the Browns, the family, and it's a big, big, big family, and they're all kind of characters. And then there's Urwally, and at Christmas time you get an annual, and it's obviously all the comics from throughout the year in one book, and that is a tradition which doesn't happen anymore because Mama Gemma isn't here, but Mama Gemma always used to give me either, you would either get one or the other as a Christmas present, and she'd always read it before she wrapped it. The thing about the comics though is they are written in broad Scots. So if you're not accustomed to reading in a thick Scots accent, it can be quite difficult to follow. It's a bit like trying to read one of Irvin Welsh's books, except in a more sort of lighter entertainment format. But they're very, very popular, and it kind of keeps like the thicker, more traditional Scots accents alive, and it is very nice. It's excellent. It's very, very good indeed. So yeah, that's the Bruins. Again, in day-to-day language though, I don't think in the 8 years of being on YouTube I've ever called it Brune. Those are brown, but that's because I speak properly. Sugar plum, I'm not really sure what category to put this pencil under because it's kind of like purpley, pinky, reddy colour. Right, you're an outlier, you can sit over there. And navy blue. Yeah, and I didn't, we had to add water to the ink pens. And Jeanette, we were in Edinburgh yesterday, last week to get our Scottish fix. Excellent. Yeah, Thea can do that's well again that's a thing that's shared between the German language and the Scottish pronunciations, like loch. Ocher's another one, but we pronounce it ocher, which some people seem to lose their mind at for some reason, which I think is really funny, but it's just the way we do it. And see the R rolling, most of us are quite lazy and we don't do it all the time. That's been very helpful in learning Swedish though, because there's a kind of like a R sound in Swedish as well. Mostly helpful. But yeah, the R rolling, I tend not to do it. Especially like in conversational terms, if there's one word like brown, that I do it then. But if I was saying, you know, if I was using that in a sentence, I probably wouldn't roll it, and it's just laziness. I have his old annuals of the Bruins, and they're like, oh yay. I would actually really like to colour them in. We've talked about this before, I'm sure this has come up. It must have been a long time ago. But I would love to colour in one of the annuals. I wouldn't want to deface the ones that I've got though, of which there are a lot, by the way. Because again, I've had one every year since I was old enough to read from Mama Gem. Oh my goodness, nearly threw that away there. A lot of blues going on up here. Then we'll be up after the mossy season into the hills. Define into the hills, Jeanette. You mean into the Highlands? Yes, the throaty is very much represented in the Austrian German dialect that Thea speaks. I think it's what makes Scottish accents easier for me to understand. Fair point. To be fair though, for most people, like most people don't struggle with I'm going to use the word polite, but what I mean is the less broad accents. It's not that broad accents are impolite, or maybe like if you want to say closer to proper English, most nationalities don't struggle with understanding a Scottish accent if they're quite sort of proper spoken. I never, I mean, I talk to people all over the country. Again, I'm sure I've talked about this before. The only people that struggle with my accent is Welsh people that are Welsh speaking as their first language. They're the only people that struggle with my accent, and that's happened quite a few times. But even at that, it's few and far between. We're apparently though, this, I mean, this was years and years and years ago. They did a study, and the West Coast Scottish accent, which is my original accent, has had the corners knocked off it now because I've moved about a lot, but apparently the West Coast Scottish accent was one of the most easy to understand languages, accents, like English speaking accents to understand. They did it, it was like a telesales survey kind of thing. I'm not really sure where I'm putting. I suppose this is pink. Right, so yeah, let's put that there. And waggling this about as well. This is red oxide, so I'm going to put that down there with the earth tones. Never been so glad to have lost my. The thing is, I love a Welsh accent. Absolutely love a Welsh accent. Glaswegian Paisley accents are the hardest to understand from the various Scottish ones. Well, again, though, there's different types of Glaswegian. There's very posh Glaswegian because you can be from South Side, which is one of the posh bits of Glasgow. And their accent's not too far from mine. I would say it's more like the vowels are more drawn out. But yeah, there's a rough Glaswegian accent is difficult to understand for an uninitiated ear, definitely for sure. The interesting thing as well is, Mary, my mum was born in Paisley and she's never had a Paisley accent. Like, she never had it. I think that's just because she was brought up proper though. Yeah, you're nearly there, Mary. Gorbals. Yeah, like Gorbals or Mary Hill. That's another a right rough bit. The thing is though, like they don't obviously like that's I'm used to it. Like if you listen to some of the I want to say the inland Ayrshire accent. So I'm from the coast, but if you go just like just a bit further east, there's some really broad accents in Ayrshire as well that are difficult to understand. Um It's very endearing though. One of my favourites was I went to, this was years and years ago when I was a catering student, so that's when I was like 16, 17, and I went to catering college and there was a girl there and she was from this little place called Maybole. So Mabel's not far from Turnberry, which is where Donald Trump's got his golf course, and Turnberry's very upmarket. It's a very exclusive little place with this great big golf course and it's right on the coast. So Mabel's a bit further up the road. Um but that this girl, she had the broadest Ayrshire accent I'd ever heard, and she was telling us that she'd moved into a flat with her boyfriend and she wanted to invite the neighbours round for like a housewarming and kind of like introduce herself. And she said, I've just decided I'm going to have a wee party. I was like, who calls it a party? That's a party, obviously. And I'm like, what? But she spoke like that all the time. And it was like adorable and hilarious in equal measures. But if you weren't listening closely, you were like, what now? So what did you just say? But she was such a nice girl as well. Like she was lovely. But she like the drawback to that is that kind of, especially like that very specific dialect from that area, people tend to make the assumption that someone is uneducated or a bit backward when they've got that kind of accent. And she really wasn't. But it was just really funny because, you know, at that point at 16, I was used to mostly the West Coast accent and Glaswegian accents, and to hear this sort of like deep country bumpkin type, I was like, my God, I didn't know people still said words like that. Really funny. Chinese ink. Got some browns here as well. No, Perty, Thea. Pai. Perty. Like a pair of shoes, a Perty. I just think it though. Into the hills. Anywhere and everywhere from Perth, northwest and east. We like to tour in the little camper. Ah. See, that's interesting as well, Mary, because I don't struggle with like the Northumbrian Geordie accent at all. Our friend's wedding that we were at not that long ago, him and his wife are from that neck of the woods, and at the wedding there was a lot of their friends there who are obviously from that area also, and I don't struggle with that at all, but I don't know whether it's because there's quite a lot of like crossovers because obviously it's near the border. Um So I don't know, maybe that's part of it as well. But weirdly, I don't struggle with that at all. But it is quite a thick accent, especially the Geordie accent. I love a good Geordie accent. Storm dust, that's like a grey colour, isn't it? Let's put that over there. Can I just point out something right now? We have been in this stream for not very long at all, less than half an hour. Look how animated and happy I am just talking about accents and stuff and just hanging out with you guys. Like I feel as if you've like given me energy. Like I feel really good now. This is why hanging out with you guys is so much fun, and I love having you all, and I love having these Wednesdays because I instantly feel way better than I did like an hour ago. So thank you all. And let's continue on our good chats, even though we're just talking about accents just now. Beach green. We just sound like farmers. To be fair, green hat. I love green hats. Neck of the woods as well. Absolute favourites. I'm very attuned to accents in the UK because as part of my job I speak to people on the phone all the time and it's farmers, but it's all over the country. And I'm pretty good at picking out. I maybe won't get it like absolutely spot on, but I can usually take a pretty good educated guess as to where someone is from. I can now tell with Welsh accents now I can tell the difference between north and south. Well within reason. That's a more recent thing, but also I used to get a Dorset and Cornwall accent, like I couldn't tell the difference between them, but I can tell the difference between the two now. But I've just got an ear for stuff like that, and it's just because I've been doing my job for as long as I have. I've been doing this job for 12 years now, so you kind of get the hang of stuff like that. And before that, I worked in telesales before that as well, so I'm very attuned to listen. Because when you're on the phone and you don't have visual cues, you try to pick up audio cues, and I think that's a big part of it as well. I have a friend in Bristol who's surprised I understand him. I have to tell him he's not that special. The Bristol accent is fun. You got behind because you lost signal. Oh, Jeanette, you can just pop back in. It is, it's a lovely part of the country. One of my sisters-in-laws, sisters-in-law, sister-in-laws. I don't know which one's right. Anyway, one of Mr. Jem's sisters got married down that neck of the woods, and it is a hell of a drive from up here. God Almighty, and it took us forever. Someone broke down on the I want to say M5, and it took us 12 hours to get down, which obviously wasn't the way it was supposed to go, but that's what happened. But it was very beautiful, very very beautiful. Got on a plane in Sydney and the two Australian ladies next to me knew I was from the southwest the second I spoke. Have you got quite a thick accent then, Green Hat? I can't even tell where the locations are on the map. But that's the thing, Thea. You're not from here, so you wouldn't. But it's like my geography knowledge of Sweden is a lot better now than it was like 5 years ago, and I know most of the major towns. There's still places I don't have a clue where they are. But interestingly as well, just talking about accents, the last time that Julia came to visit, we went into Edinburgh and I took her to see, like some of the bits and bobs. We kind of like half did the touristy bit. And I took her to one of my favourite pubs, just off the Royal Mile, so it is quite touristy, but it's one of my favourite pubs that serves like food. They do traditional Scottish pub grub, and the menu's all in like broad Scots. So it's really nice to take, someone that's from another country there just so that they can try something and it's not it's really down to earth and you can have a pint and whatever, which obviously suits me. But when we were there, I was like, there's 60 million tourists in Edinburgh during the summer at any given time. And we had a table reserved, and when we got there, the sun had come out, it'd been raining before that. So Julia had said to me, "Oh, can we sit outside?" And I said, "Well, we've got a table like reserved, but we can always ask." So I asked the staff, I said, "Look, it's nice. Is there space outside?" And they're like, "If you can see an empty table, just go and sit at it and we'll release your reserved table." So that was fine. And And about 10 minutes later, this couple sat down at the table behind us and they had the most gorgeous red and white collie. And I was desperate to talk to the dog. But it only took like 5 minutes and Julia's ears pricked up and she was like, the woman sitting behind me is Swedish. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, and amongst all these people, you come to Edinburgh with me and you find like the only Swedish person within like a 5 mile radius. So we got talking to this couple, got to pet the dog, and Julia and the lady, they were chatting in a way in Swedish, and I mean my Swedish is not great. It's rusty now. It was a bit better then, but I was only picking out maybe every like seventh or eighth word and kind of getting the gist of the conversation. But what I did notice was I could tell the difference between Julia's accent and this lady's accent, and I knew that she was from the north. And that's something that Julia never explained that to me or like told me the difference. She's just, apart from the basic, like, you know, they kind of speak like this compared to us. And Julia has a very like rural accent. But I had never experienced anyone else talking Swedish like that, because when I go, I stay with Julia's family, and I knew, I was like, and afterwards I said to her, I was like, that lady was from the north, isn't she? And Julia's like, yeah. She's like, oh, go you. So weird. But that's the kind of thing, my point, this is a really long-winded roundabout kind of way of saying to Thea that those are the kind of things, like the nuances that you just pick up as you go along if you're in contact with people in a different country. But yeah, it's really funny because Julia speaks so much more quickly, and I understood more of the words that came from the lady that was from the north, because they speak much more slowly. I was like, I could kind of like follow the thread of what she was talking about, whereas Julia's just like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, Swedish is not my forte. Jeanette's father-in-law came from Glasgow. He went to school in and hubby went to school in Strathallan. Ooh, right, okay, that's posh for everyone else. What did the two greens at the bottom middle do to upset you, Jem? Poor things not good with their fellows. Well, these were kind of the lighter ones. I didn't know, because I'm like, are we going? Is this going to be the transition between like turquoise and green? I think that's where I was going with that. So if I do that though, that makes much more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyone interested in the translations? Mary's oh yes, I'm well acquainted with this. Near the Red Cave, just a different cave. Do you know, it's funny? One of my acquaintances way back in the day, there was two Welshmen that used to drink in our pub, and this was like our village pub, which I worked in for a spell as well. And one was called Di, and one was called Daffyd. Leave me alone with Jem for a few days, and I'll start sounding like offensive greens are offensive. There's no such thing as an offensive green. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm still waggling these two out because Fern and Oak, they're the ones that I'd picked out for the again, if any of you were in that stream for the tree trunk for Charlie the Cheetah. That I feel like that's the transition between brown and green. So I'm just kind of like waggling them about as well. But there we go, like we're in very loose groups here, which is a start. My now ex best friend. That's another story that I've never mentioned. My ex best friend was like that. We used to call it WAS, wandering accent syndrome, and she would pick up an accent, or you know, even if it was just like little words and phrases of somewhere that she'd been. And she, if you would speak to her, you would think that she's native to the city that she lives in now. And she only moved there when she was like 18. Um, and she's always done that. Because even when she moved about, she picked up like a lilt of the accent that she was in the vicinity of, and she can't help it. It's just one of those things. Whereas you take a look at Mr. Jem, he's been in Scotland for, I want to say like 20, nearly 20 years, and he is still undoubtedly a broad northerner, as in a northern English accent, but I mean his accent is very, very thick. He did He did say to me though the other day, he unfortunately had to go to a funeral. It was that his aunt passed away. Okay, that was Jock throwing himself down. My God, are you okay? That was very dramatic. Oh, he's coming through. You okay? Yeah, so Mr. Jem had said to me he didn't realise how much his accent softened until he was back with family, and he because he said listening to them talking to each other, he's like, God, they sound really broad. So it's funny how that happens. Um, it's just one of those things. But I mean, even I don't think I've lost my accent that much because I've lived all over Scotland. I spent a year down in England as well. I still sound Ayrshire A ish. But I think my accent's a lot softer now. But that's over years and years. It's not just like I've moved from this place, and it's changed. Don't think I'll ever get rid of the Devon twang, but it takes on some interesting idiosyncrasies. I bet it does. That's quite exotic, isn't it? Jeanette, thanks for coming in. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy your travels. Obviously, really glad for anyone to come and tour and do stuff in and round about where I'm from. We're very proud of ourselves here. I hope the weather stays good for you as well. Very much, Jeanette, and you're welcome back anytime. Thea's mum left home when she was 18. You can't tell where she's from because she lost her dialect almost completely. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's the thing though, like in the UK, you can pinpoint someone very easily, and if you can't because they've moved about, you know where they came from because there's so many different accents and whatnot. You never sound like a Cockney, even though you've lived it. Well, this is the thing. Like, I have a theory about this. I think you get to a certain point, and it's different for everyone because it depends on your upbringing as well. But I think you just get to a point where your original accent is just it's ingrained in you that you'll never really lose it. Like Mr. Jem's never ever going to lose his accent. Um, he's from Lancashire originally, but spent a lot of time in Yorkshire, so he's got kind of a mixed, like between the two. And people often mistake him as being a Yorkshireman, but he's not. But he spent a lot of time there when he was in his late teens, early 20s, so that makes sense. Um, but I think you get to a point where you're never going to lose your accent, and it's like I know I'm never going to lose my accent now, although it's softened a little bit. Most people, especially here, because I'm over on the east side now, one of the first things when I meet someone new is they're like, "Oh, you're not from here? Are you Glaswegian?" And I'm like, "How very dare you!" Like, no, I am not. But technically, not that far from Glasgow. And I just think there comes a point where you're not going to lose your accent anymore. And like Mr. Jem's never going to lose his now. Even though he's even though his Scottish accent's coming on, he's never going to lose his accent. So I think it just depends what age you move at. Because I was saying this to sister-in-law. So again, one of Mr. Jem's sisters, and I said to her because her and her husband are English. And I said to her, "You do realise that your wee girl who's in school now, she's going to end up with a proper Scottish accent." And they don't. That was like, oh God, yeah, actually, like yeah, it's going to happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because when she was little, obviously spends most time with mummy, who's English, so going to have an English sounding accent. But when she goes to school and all her school pals are Scottish, she's going to come back with a wee Scottish accent. It happened with my nephews as well. Again, two English parents. Again, Mr. James' sibling. And the boys are, well, one's 30 now, which is terrifying, and the other one's mid-20s. And they very much have Scottish accents. And it's awesome. I'm like, yes. Someone tried to out Welsh me once. I don't know if I could be out Scottish, but being out Welsh sounds like a very Welsh thing. Hello, Kitty. Oh, jeez. Right, okay, so to put these in their case, I don't really know how to do this so that it's Like, I can't zoom my camera out anymore. That's as far as we can go. I think what I'll do is, this is such a ruddy, great big case as well. Right, let me put these up here. Oh, I've still got this Rogue pencil. This was the sugar plum. I think I might need to go with the purple for now. If I just wheech these over here. I must be feeling very Scottish today. That's another good Scottish word, to wheech something's to. Like, I'll just wheech that over there, or if you're dancing, you wheech someone round in a circle. Oh God, as we're talking about Urwully and the Broons as well. That's a very Urwully and Broons word, to wheech. All the old Scottish words. Okay, so normally in the grand scheme of things, I am a person, I think, right, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think you fall into one of two camps with this. You're either a person that, if you're going to put your pencils in colour order, you're either a person that puts white at the very beginning with, like, before you go into your creams, ivories and yellows, or white belongs with your greys and blacks. Tell me I'm wrong. I am a person that likes my white pencil with my yellows. But I'm pretty sure, like, if there's any other configuration that puts the white in a different position, I would love to hear about it, because I think that might be a psychotic problem if you do. So wheech is spelled Wheech. Wheech. So you wheech to be wheeched, or it was wheeched. Ulrika likes her white with greys and blacks. That's perfectly acceptable. Mirrie's with me. White is always the first one. That's what I don't get with the Derwent sets, says Thea. No matter which, the whites are all at the tail end. Whee! There you go, Thea. That's it. It's perfect. Perfecto. And you can do the sound. You have to teach your mum that one, Thea. Oh, hi, Wendy. When did you sneaky in? Nice to see you. You like white first too. Well, we've got antique white here, and that is exactly where it's going. If I can get it in the dang. That's okay. Pencil number one is in. So my automatic thing now is to go yellow through orange through red, into pink, into purple, into blue, blue into turquoise, turquoise into green, green into olive greens, into earth tones. What have I missed? Earth tones, and then greys and blacks. Like, that's the way I like it, and that's what's going tip to the inside. Well, do you know, it's funny. See, just the way this case sits, these leaves are quite loose, and I find that sometimes the points end up like sort of bashing about in here, so they tend to sit better the other way. I don't know why that is, but I move these cases about a lot. So when in this configuration though, the pencils point the same way, so these ones will actually point into the side. Don't ask. It's fine. Hi Jules, how are you? Jules, I saw one of your posts on Instagram. You were, I'm assuming, I might be wrong here. I'm assuming it's the same person, um, but I'm sure it was you. Have you started drawing a parrot, on, and you posted it on Instagram? Because if it is you, then it's fantastic, and I was really excited about it. I look forward to seeing the rest of it. Oh, Lucy's here as well. Hi, Lucy. How are you? I was thinking about you the other day when we had our conversation about shoes and feet. I was out running the other day. I was thinking about you, and I thought, how has it been back in the live stream? I wonder if she's okay. And here you are. So the sherbet lemon's a bit of an outlier here because it's got a distinct greenish tint to it. I tend to go by saturation, so I'll just pop it in whenever I see fit, which is probably about there actually. Oh, fab, Jules! I would love to see that. But you missed earlier on, Lucy. We were all just having a good moan about how we're all a bit out of sorts. We're a bit discombobulated is the phrase that I would use. Just not firing on all cylinders, and it seems to be kind of hanging about in the air here just now. Uh, so, but yeah, we're like I am significantly perkier since we've started the stream. Like this has really cheered me up for some bizarre reason, which is really nice. I'm taking it as an incredibly good positive. Golden yellow is going to go in there. Okay, so that's all the that's us white, pale yellow, yellows getting into like goldeny yellows now. Looks like the cat walked over your keyboard. Right, okay, so now I'm going to, let me just kind of just shuggle another, I'm full of all the Scottish words today. Shuggle is to shake something or wobble something. So I'm just going to shuggle those up there, and that means I can move this case about a bit. And I'm going to grab my oranges, reds and pinks. I instantly feel so much better about this already, see, just because we've negated the chaos. Okay, so let's, as I say, this is very like supply and brand dependent for me. I think just because I've been using the Inktense pencils for so long, but not only that, I film with them a lot. And when you film with a product, it's a lot of calling out of colour names. And I think I'm just really comfortable with them, and it's why I don't feel the need to have them in a very regimented specific order. Whereas I feel that with other brands, you know, I have to do that because then I know exactly where it is because I'm perhaps maybe not familiar. But I also find the dipped ends on these extremely helpful for that, especially when I'm filming, because it just speeds things up for me. Because what I film and what you see in an edited video are two very different. Not that we've been doing a lot of that lately, but I don't have time to breathe in the wrong direction just now. I wonder if the thought of me had anything to do with running shoes. Yes, yeah, you will appreciate Jules's animal drawings because there's a lot of detail to them. You will like them very much. 10 out of 10 can recommend. So for anyone else that's interested, go and follow Jules on Instagram. I'm trying to pick out my more orangier ones before we get into paprika's a really interesting pencil. So we're kind of getting into like the vermilions now. The other thing that I like to do with these as well is I do like to have the colour names facing up the way. Again, just because this is a great big hulking case, but I like this case, this is the thing, because it's got all my Derwent pencils together, because I've got the Colour Softs and the Derwent Artist pencils and the Graphy tints in here too. Like I love the case, but just for manoeuvring it and, you know, having a quick brrr, oh, it's that one, that's quite handy, but not as relevant with the Inktense as the other pencils, because I say they're very familiar. These are like a comfy pair of slippers at this point. Poppy red. I feel like that should be next. Look, they look so pretty. Like, look, it's so pretty. Well, again, with my polychromos, I don't bother because I know them so well and I can tell just by eyeballing them. And if I've got the wrong one, I'm only like one next door neighbour away, if that makes sense. Persian red cherry. Just having to pick and choose a wee bit here. Hot red, that's one of the names. Again, the newer ones I'm not as familiar with. I think this order. These are all the kind of pinkier ones. Scarlet pink. Oh, there's mid vermilion. I feel like that should go in there first. Pop it in. This is such a fabulous case. That the other thing that I need to, I'm kind of on a bit of a spendy Spenderson phase just now. I've just bought myself some new gouache brushes. Somewhere. Oh yes. Again, this was just on a sale somewhere. I quite like the King Art gold brushes, the original gold brushes, and this is a number 8 liner. Look at that bad boy. So I paid like £2 for this. So I like these brushes for gouache. So I got myself that, and I got myself a bit of a chunkier filbert brush. I've got other filberts this size that I use for gouache, but they're really cheap ones and they're starting to, you know, like kind of splay out. And I find these and the Skoda Prado range, they're my two favourites for gouache. So I treated myself to these. Um, just Um, but yeah, I've been on a bit of a spendy streak. So one thing that I do need to get is a new case for my polychromos, because the one that I've got only holds 120 with like a few spares, and I want the new pencils to be in with the other ones, so I'm gonna have to get myself online and look for one of them. But I want the same as the other cases I've got, the zip ones that are similar to this, and not necessarily a like a hard shell like this one. So I'm gonna have to go and get another one. So that's but more money, because why not? The old case that I've got, I might just stick it on the stash shop because it's in really good condition. Like there's even on the leaves inside, there's no pencil marks or anything. Excuse me. Um, had at lunchtime, something I don't normally have, I bought a pre-packaged pasta salad. It's a long and involved story, but I don't normally do that. But anyway, I bought one and it's coming back on me something rotten. I mean, it was lovely. I really enjoyed it, but my digestive system is now not enjoying it. Okay, so there's Pink Flamingo. So now we're going to move into the pinky purple colours. Look how nice they look. I love it when this. Oh, so good. Oh, if Patty's here, it's Patty in the car. Cal's got some teeny brushes that you might get on with. They're shaped in such a way that they're chunky to hold. Oh, yes, please, Cal. I would appreciate that. I do get on, especially in the winter when my hand is stiff. The bigger the like the chunkier the barrel is, the easier it is for me, and the more longevity I get before my hand starts to get sore. So that is genuinely something that I would really, really appreciate. Thea doesn't know what to do with her polychromos, don't want to give up her pretty wooden box. Oh, I forgot you've got the wooden box. Oh, that thing's totally screwed for you, Thea. Who made beautiful animal drawings? Would love to check it out. Lucy, that is art at Jules. All mine are in pots. Yeah, so art, yes, art at Jules. Could someone stick it in the... Oh yeah, there we go, right. I'm not getting caught up on the chat here. Jules says, all mine are in pots on the wall by my desk for easy access. I use pencils from so many different ranges in each piece. You're like Julia. Oh, Julia's got all her brands mixed in like little pots and it drives me absolutely bonkers. I understand like the visual cues of it. I just don't like I know my pencils well enough. That especially see if you're doing like hyper realism type stuff, I jump between the Derwent Lightfast and the Caran d'Ache Luminance, and funnily enough, they share a case. But I know all my coloured pencils well enough. You know, if something's not working in an actual drawing, I'm like, oh, well, that pencil from that range of work, and I just go and get it. But Julia likes to have everything out in pots, and they're organised by colour family, but the brands are all mixed. I absolutely, like, could not cope with that, like, 100%. It's funny how all our brains work in different ways, though, isn't it? But, conversely, and this is back to the contrary thing that I was saying back at the beginning, see, when it comes to my gouache tubes, I like to have them all out in front of me. They all have to be visible because otherwise there's ones I just won't use. Go figure. I don't know what that is. Nick Pro did a set with school pencil grips that are tiny. Well, I've got loads of Nick Pro brushes and I like them. See, for a budget brush, they're great, and I use them for gouache. That's what I use them for. Personal problems. Cannot mix brands, yeah, no. Again, can't do it in pencils. Paint, doesn't matter. They all just chill out together. They're all different consistency. Well, again, gouache especially, you guys know I'm really into gouache, and they are all different consistencies, but that doesn't seem to matter. I don't know why it matters so much with pencils, but it doesn't matter with paint. Like, my brain's, there's no logic to it at all. Oh, they're in their own sets. Oh, okay, right. Well, that makes you slightly less psychotic. Light Fast and Luminance to be the only two brands that I would use together, but mostly for portrait work. Well, that's Mary. I mean, how rarely do you see me using those pencils? I keep them for commissions, or gifts that I know are going to be hung on a wall. I do keep them sacred. Do you know? I actually, this is quite a sensitive subject in the pencil world, but I'm willing to put myself out there. I really, really disagree with people who are dawdling away in sketchbook. That sounds really condescending. No, stop that, Jem. People who work in sketchbooks and colouring books insisting on using like light fast and luminance pencils because they're the best pencils. They're actually no better than like your mid-range, mid to top range artist grade pencils. It's the light fastness aspect of it that makes them the most expensive pencils. You're paying for the light fastness. If that page hardly ever sees the light of day, you don't need to pay the extra. Buy a set of polychromos. I see pencil snobs with stuff like that. That really bothers me. Like, that actually bothers me. But then again, I've got a thing about overconsumption. If you are a hobby colorist, like an adult colorist, you don't need 16, 17, 18 sets of pencils right through from budget pencils like Crayolas through to Derwent Light. You don't need them. Like, I earn money from doing this, the whole kit and caboodle, I mean, like YouTube and everything. And I keep my luminance and my Derwent Lightfast pencils. They're precious, they're expensive. If you're creating something that's going to hang on a wall or is going to see the light of day every day, absolutely. But if not, you don't need to spend all that money just so that you can say, oh, I only use the best pencils. There's pencils that cost less than that that will do just as good a job in terms of blending and layering and all the rest of it. Like, genuinely, I don't even think I take issue with that specifically. I take issue with overconsumption just so that people can say, oh, I've got 300 colouring books. Like, you're never got, like, I know how much I use my supplies and I think I've got too many supplies, and I spend a lot of time doing art stuff between videos and blah blah blah, and I don't like overconsumption. It smacks of so many unattractive traits and people. Like, genuinely, I don't like it, and I think that's why I've got a bee in my bonnet about it. See, if someone wants to buy a really nice set of pencils just to have and to use and that's what they use, do not have a problem with that. I'm not gatekeeping pencils, but I hate that people say, oh, if you want good pencils and to have good colouring, you have to buy Caran d'Ache Luminance. No, you freaking do not. Like, get out. Just leave. You're not allowed. There's a big difference between those two things as well. I saw a post recently on Reddit, and I have a like an artist. I have like a Colour Cave Reddit name, but I also have a private one as well. And as the private undercover person, I stumbled upon a post about people talking about things that are more expensive than they need to be and people getting sucked into it with expensive hobbies. And this guy said he saw a post, so he's obviously not an artist or anything, but he saw a post and someone had asked that they were starting up adult colouring as a hobby, like they were just beginning, and someone had recommended that the only pencils that are worthwhile using was a really expensive set of pencils. And he's like, I looked these up and they're like $250 for the set or whatever it was. And he's like, that is absolutely outrageous. You're talking about a colouring book. And I was like, thank you. Like, oh, good lord. Anyway, I'll get down off my soap, and I'm getting really indignant about this. I do feel really strongly about it though. Like, there's a time and a place, and if you want to save up for a really nice set of pencils because you enjoy a really nice set of pencils, that is not what I am talking about. But people that, like, you can't have good artwork unless you have this, and this is like the gold standard. There is no gold standard for stuff like this. The number of things that I've coloured and, artworks that I've done with Crayola pencils, the problem with that is they're not light fast, but that's another situation entirely. Oh. Anyway, take a deep breath, Jem, everything's fine. That felt kinda cathartic to get that out though. Lucy, I like this. Lucy does it by firmness. That's kinda nice as well, I like that. That's allowed, like, yeah, I'm 100% up for that one. Minnie doesn't do the watercolours either. Minnie, are you and I the same person? Oh, that's funny. All the best people are, yeah, they are, Jules. Jules has done some great pieces with cheapy kids' pencils. Exactly, like that's what irritates me. Thea says Jem should not see my pencil collection, shame on my overconsumption. Well, again, it's kind of back to the same thing though. Like you all know how I feel about art supplies. It's like, see if you're using everything, that's fine, but like, come on. There are pencils and things. Let's see if you right. Let's take colouring books. Are a great example because they're relatively cheap to pick up. They're not too bulky for storage in the grand scheme of art supplies. Um, what are you going to do with 300 colouring books? You're never in a month of Sundays going to spend time and or finish half of those in your entire lifetime if you don't buy any more. There is just no need for it. I would totally recommend polychromos through in the German speaking areas because they're decent in price for what they are here. Well, yeah, Miri's saying her argument to anyone is that says anything like that is that the tools are irrelevant. It's the skill to use them. The phrase that we would use is a poor workman blames his tools. So yeah, same sentiment. I think having reasonably good tools makes a difference. So not the kid's cheapest version, which will put you off because they don't work right. But no, like no, I'm talking about there's a huge gap in the not gap in the market, and there's a gap that needs to be filled sense. You have kids or like classroom level supplies, and then you have student grade, and then you have artist grade. I'm talking about like student grade upwards. Obviously, if you get kids like crayons and then you get like neo colors, they're both technically crayons, but they're very different things. But I see what you're saying, I understand. There's art supply collecting and there's art supplies for use, two totally separate things. Well, this is the other thing as well. I would never be a collector of art supplies because I feel guilt if things aren't getting used. I tend to find that people that are art supply collectors, though, they actually very, very rarely do any art. They just go, oh, look, I've bought this. And again, I just like that doesn't that's a no for me. Again, I don't, especially now in this day and age, the way the economy is, the way things are going, the way that we've used our planet, there is overconsumption to me just equals greed. That, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's the way I see it in a lot of cases. Why do you need all these things? What are you trying to prove? Like, are you trying to fill a void in your life, or like, are you unhappy? Because that's normally what it is. Either that or a very deep-seated hoarding instinct, which again, that let's not open that kettle of fish. Um, but for the average Joe, there is no need to have all these things, and most of them will just sit and gather dust. And I don't like that, and I don't like that about myself, and that's why I regularly clear out the cave as I've just been doing. And I'm like, I found a set of watercolors, and I was like, I haven't used these. I've kept them because they look pretty. I do not need them. There is somebody out there that is probably screaming for a set of half decent watercolours. You're not going to use them. You're going to pick them up every now and then and go, oh, I'm not going to get rid of them because they're pretty. I'll use them as no, just let someone else have them that actually wants them, like really wants them or needs them. And I feel much better about that, and I get much more out of that than having a pretty tin sitting on the shelf that's got watercolour in it. I love the honesty, Lucy. She's only done it because it will fit in the case. Do you know what, Mary? I wish I felt that way. I would love to say that on the surface, but again, collectors, that's a very specific thing. A collector to me is someone that goes out and hunts down rare things and things of value and builds a collection. See people that collect like Funko Pops and what's the new one that are absolutely terrifying? Labubus. Like that's you're not a collector, you're just a consumer. That's very different things. So yeah, do you know what? I do have issues with collectors. I actually do. I don't like it. I don't like it, and it can all go away. Right, one side complete. We're gonna wiggle over here now. See that this is what's gonna upset people because these pencils are also gonna point this way. Mauve, one of my favourites. I'm gonna put the sugar plum on this side. I just feel as if it's almost a red. Right, okay. I just have to like mental note to myself that that's where I've put it because I might come back to that at a later stage and be like, why did I put that in there? That'll do nicely. Let's pop that there. Right, okay, so now we're on to the blues. It's interesting because I do think there's almost a disproportionate amount of blues in these pencils. There's frickin' hunters them. Hunters. Patty purged her colouring books and gave them to a preschool. Yeah. I have a problem with people who collect for status and bragging rights, but how much of that is to do with your neurospiciness? Probably a lot of it. Again, one of the one of the things that's commonly attached, and at this point, I'm just assuming that I've got ADHD. I'm on the waiting list. The waiting list is now 3 years long in my area, and there's 12,000 people waiting. By the way, um, I have a huge problem with injustice, and that's commonly like a common ADHD thing. Like, really don't like injustice. Um, so yeah, I kind of do have an issue that, but I'm not afraid to admit to that, and I don't judge people for it in the sense that if someone was that kind of person, I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to speak to you. You're a terrible person. It's not like that. There's a lot of nuance to it, but it irritates me. Like I wish everyone would. Never mind. I can't go into that because this is getting into like dangerous territory for me here. But I'm glad that you recognise that, Mary. Thank you. Yeah, I don't like useless stuff. Like the thing is, and it's not that I don't like it. I feel guilty. Like I feel bad about it. It's like I've got this sitting here, and it's not fulfilling its destiny. Like, and I want it to be somewhere where it's going to get used and loved. Um, that makes me much happier than stuff just sitting on a shelf looking pretty, so that someone can post it on social media and be like, "Oh, look, I've got this." Like, no. Oh, Thea knows what Lububus are. They're absolutely horrifying. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Goodness me. Lucy feels guilt if her supplies are untouched. You rotate, you've got a rotation. Love it. That's funny. Green Hat's got a fabric stash. Struggle to use it, but enjoy looking at it. Stroking. That's like me. I like to sniff my books. Ah, goodness me. Ah, that's so funny. Jem will soon join us in the officially neurospicy department. Well, I'm kind of I'm at the point now where it's likely that I'm going to go private. I can get an assessment within 4 weeks if I go private. It is an extreme amount of money though. I feel at this point though it'll be money well spent, and it's not. I'm just going to the names here a little bit. I'm just trying to put these in like a sensible order because I kind of wanted the turquoisey ones together, but kind of balls that up a little bit. They're the kind of turquoise ones. So they are going to move into those ones. I'm trying not to take this too seriously, but yeah, Papa Jem actually asked me not that long ago, and it was just after Mama Jem had passed away. He said, what do you think that you're going to gain from getting a diagnosis? Because, you know, you've kind of made up your mind that that's what it is. He's like, what are you going to get from it? Because I'd said specifically that it's not necessarily about being medicated, which seems to be quite a big thing as well. And he's like, well, what's the point then? And, you know, I've always kind of had the opinion that, well, I've lived with it this long, do I really need a diagnosis? But I think now it's more about understanding and being at the age that I'm at, that there are perimenopausal symptoms which can often exacerbate neuro neurospicy tendencies. So I think just having a better understanding, but also being able to reconcile on things that have happened in the past and really have an understanding, like, okay, do you know what? I'm not a terrible person. I'm not a bad person. I'm not, you know, I don't have bad judgment. Some of these things that have happened is because this is the way I am. It's almost kind of like just confirmation and being at peace with oneself with these things. And if I can learn some tools along the way, you know, as coping mechanisms that might help me as I get into this slightly hormonal stage of my life, then that's going to be a bonus as well. And Papa Jem couldn't really understand that. Now, half the problem with this is that Papa Jem's neurospicy as well. Like, I would absolutely eat my hat if he went for an ADHD assessment and they turned around and said, yeah, nah, there's nothing wrong with him. I'm that confident. So there's kind of like a lot going on with it, but yeah, I'm seriously considering just spending the money and going private. Oh yeah, and that's the thing, Mary, because for so long I've always questioned that. But the thing that gets me personally, and this is a very personal thing, I don't know if I want to talk about this right now. Um, when I was young, mentally, I was about 23. Mentally, I was very, very unwell, and quite often when things don't fit society or don't fit people's expectations, I often ask myself the question, is this because I was mentally ill before? Like, is that damaged me? And as I go along and the more I'm learning, it's like, well, actually, do you know what? A wee bit of neurospiciness might have been the problem in the first place, and that's what caused everything else. But I often think to myself, like, I'm the problem or I'm too much, and I'm constantly apologizing for like the person that I am, and I'm trying to stop doing that anyway because I can't, like, most of the time I'm a really enthusiastic, energetic person, and I get very passionate about things, and I like to like deep dive into things, and I understand that that's not for everyone. But I feel like at this stage of my life, like I'm in my 40s, I don't want to have to keep apologizing for just being the person that I am, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I think getting a diagnosis might help me with that, which in itself is a big thing, let alone like, oh, okay, well, there's other things that we can do to help you cope or manage or, you know, do things differently. So it's a whole big thing on in its own. I don't think I'm autistic. I would just go for ADHD, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, yeah, do you know what? It's like, you know, you're into four figures and that's just for the assessment, but I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I should just go and do this, even if it just puts me at peace with myself a bit more. But I'm done. I'm not apologising for the person that I am anymore. I don't deliberately go out of my way to hurt people, antagonize people, you know, anything like that. Um, I'm not a bad person, but sometimes I convince myself that I'm a terrible person. And it's not. Like, if I step back and take a deep breath, I know that. Like, I'm not. And I'm more the person that would go out of my way to help someone and feel what another person is feeling and want to help them than, like, be a not nice person. But it's making those things make sense in your brain when there's like 55,000 other things going on at the same time. And if you're not a person that hasn't experienced that, it's very difficult. And I'm sure a lot of you that are in the chat can relate to this. It's very difficult to try and portray that to someone who is not neurospicy in any way. Getting to the end of my dagnammit. I've missed a blue. That's because I'm too busy ranting and raving about neurospiciness. God damn. I'm gonna have to bump over. Like, this upsets me greatly. Oh. There's two. I've missed two. Nightshade. Oh, yeah, no, Nightshade can win with the dark colours. Right, okay. Let me move everything down one. They judge you and call you a faker. I think I might need to roll the chat back a wee bit here because I've obviously we're talking about quite a heavy subject today. My fear, Thea, is that because I know about it, I'll know what answers are that could get me a diagnosis. Then I doubt if it's real. Same for me, Green Hat. Mike's got an ADHD diagnosis, and it went a long way for him understanding his childhood schooling. Yeah, well, this is right because this is the other thing as well. Like, we're learning more and more about these things as we go along, and we now know that ADHD in young girls especially presents very differently to boys. And if you and I've got them because my mum kept my report cards from primary school. And when Papa Jem was cleaning out mum's things, he came across a whole lot and he's like, look, I don't really want to keep these in the house, but I don't want to throw them out. Do you want them? And I'm like, yeah, they're hilarious. And every single report card from when I was 5 years old all the way through primary school, so up until I was like 11, every single class and every single teacher's like, Jem participates in class, but she never shuts up. She's always chatting to her, her friends or blah blah blah. She can't stop talking. And for me, like, I got the work done and I got it done really quickly and it was boring and I was bored. So when I was bored, what did I do? I started talking because that's what I do. I talk, 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 talk. And that has been a theme with me right since I was a very, very tiny little girl. And lo and behold, now we know a very common trait with girls with ADHD. We're able to sit still as kids because it's different for the boys and the girls. But I was just spitting it out there in a different way. All very interesting. They judge and call you a faker and I get upset by that. Like I said, going privately and pay for evaluation makes that easier. Well, that's kind of why I want to do it as well, Thea. Lucy was diagnosed ADHD 4 years ago. I had to go through private practice because my free healthcare primary care said, you know too much, you Googled this. Oh, God. That's awful. Grew up like that, got told off for being too much. Yeah, I get that a lot. Like, and in all honesty, I think that's probably why I lean towards, like, see, the, like, friends, not that I've got very many of those in real life, but friends, partners, I tend to seek out the opposite of me because they balance me out. Mr. Jem is so laid back, he's horizontal. And, we've been together for what, 14, nearly 15 years now. And It definitely does, like, it has an impact on you, and I mean, believe it or not, I'm actually more chilled out than I used to be. It's definitely a positive thing, but I don't know whether subconsciously I seek out people like that. Most of my really close friends have been like the opposite personality to me, like really laid back. Um, and I feel as if I kind of do that on purpose because it feels like a it feels like a bit of a zen moment. Like I can go and chat to my friend, and I'm going to be like cool as a cucumber by the time I come back. Well, this is the thing, Lucy. Like, I'm convinced CPAP gem. Like, for any of you that have been diagnosed, in fact, for those of you that think you're neurospicy but haven't had a diagnosis, you look at Papa Gem, you're like, 100%. Like, oh, no two ways about it. Well, yeah, like it's. I don't think. So this is in response to. I've lost it now. Hang on. Lots of chats going on here about this. I'm glad we've opened this up as well. Yeah, Green Hat says what I want from a diagnosis is a valid question. I don't think it's any different to like to knowing your lineage, your family history, because it just gives you a better understanding of who you are as a person. Culture's got a lot to do with it. It's kind of like this rich tapestry. But the thing with divergence and neurospiciness in general, if you get to a point where you're having a meltdown, um and it seems to be for no apparent reason, it's really handy to know that there might be a reason why you do that. I'm going to give you an example. I have latent anxiety from when I had a nervous breakdown. I had that nervous breakdown when I was 22. It was bad. My hair was falling out. Like, I was not in a good spot, and I was nearly not here. And if it wasn't for Mama and Papa Jem, I would not be here now. Um, so I'm just trying to sort of these pencils. Hang on, we're nearly there with a bark. Um, I think it's very important to have an understanding, but although I recovered quite well from that, all things considered, and I couldn't have done it without my parents, so I literally wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. I have all the tools, and I use those tools all the time to manage sort of anxious feelings and the overthinking and all the rest of it. But there's things that just never go away. There's like latent anxiety or latent overthinking when you're that ill. There's some things you just never get rid of. I am not good in supermarkets. I'm not good in busy public places. Cinemas, weirdly, I don't know why. I hardly ever go to the cinema, but I really, really don't like it. Don't like supermarkets, although I'm perfectly capable of going myself, and I do it, and I go and do it and suck it up buttercup and everything's fine. But being someone that drives everywhere, I live rurally. I have done for a long time. And as a youngster, where I came from, you passed your driving test as soon as you could, because if you didn't, you weren't going anywhere. It's like a rite of passage. Everybody got a car, and my first car was shared with Mama Jem. But that's what you went through, and I love driving. I loved driving. I still love driving. I'm happy to drive long distances. Really confident driver, probably a little bit of an impatient driver. When I pull up at a set of traffic lights, now I have been driving since I was 17 and I'm 40 now. When I pull up at a set of traffic lights, if the light is red, I am anxious until that light turns to green and I can go. When you drive a manual transmission, I don't drive a manual transmission anymore. When I drove a manual transmission, I would sit and I would knock the car out of gear and then put it back into first and then knock it back into neutral and then put it, and I would do that continuously until the light turned to green. When you're in an automatic pickup like I am now, all you can do is pop between neutral and drive, and you've got to keep your foot in the brake. I am so antsy and uncomfortable at a red light. And it just makes me weirdly like unsettled, and there is absolutely zero logical reason for it, but that is a situation, and I can guarantee you, see, if you were to look at my heart rate sitting at a red light, and this is any set of traffic lights anywhere, it could be a set of roadworks traffic lights in the middle of nowhere, or it could be in the middle of the town with 4 lanes of traffic. It doesn't matter, it just spikes my anxiety. There is no logical reason for that to happen. You tell me that is not a neurospicy thing, please. Anyway. Informed and forearmed. Things might get a bit shittier before they get better once you know you're autistic or ADHD. I'm perfectly aware of that as well. Yeah, I think there's an adjustment. I think as we grow as an older child, young adults absolutely pursue the diagnosis, but at 2 or 3 years old, a lot of the tics and hand flapping is outgrown within a few years. Yeah, that's true. Well, this is the thing, like, I was a really good kid at school, I was quite academic, but I routinely got kicked out of my chemistry class, and I loved chemistry, like, I'm a sciencey girl, I love chemistry. Used to get kicked out of my chemistry class frequently, and I liked my teacher as well, that's the worst of it. I just couldn't, like, it was overstimulating, I couldn't do it, and but that's what I know now, it wasn't like that at the time, but everyone was really puzzled why, like, we've got this, like, model student who does really well, why is she misbehaving and why can't she cope with a chemistry class when she took 3 sciences? It was just too much. I didn't like the Bunsen burners and it, like, everything all together, and it was noisy and it was chaotic. And I look at that through a different lens now as a 40-odd-year-old woman. Yeah, there's Green Hat saying about the diagnosis process generating a lot of introspection. If you are neurospicy, you tend to be over analytical anyway, and that just makes it a million times worse, doesn't it? And then you become hyper aware. God. Oh. Oh, Jesus. Right, okay, I think that's enough heavy chat for now. We've overshot our intermission. The pencils are now in a much more sensible order. I'm sure you'll agree they look pretty. I am very happy with this. Right, so now you all need to answer the question. I'm going to take a break. I do have to finish at 5 though. I've got quite a lot going on just now. What would you like to do? Will we just keep the intense out and go with Charlie? Charlie Chimpanzee. Charlie the cheetah. Will we just go for that and do a bit of that for half an hour or so? Or do you want to go with the scrapbooking option? I feel like that's a bit of a longer term affair. Oh, look at all the hugs going on in the chat. Oh, we're having quite a tender day today, aren't we? But to be fair, we're talking about some pretty sort of heavy hitting subjects today. Sometimes we talk about farts and boobs. Today we're talking about neurospiciness and whatnot. Ah, Mary says Charlie probably easier. Okay, it seems a shame to mess up the pencils. Oh, we won't be messing them up though. Okay, right, let's do that. Right, guys, I really, really need to go for a wee as well. So I'm gonna go and do that. I don't know if Ulrika's still here. She's been quite quiet. Hey, Isa. Good morning. And it's a shame because I'm just about to take a little break. I'm late taking the break today, but I'll be back just shortly. Um, Europa's happy with him. I'm so easily pleased. Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a break, so I need to go for a quick wee. I'll be back really soon. If Ulrika is still here, please feel free to harass her about what she's making for dinner. The food chat is now allowed, and I'll be back really, really, really quickly, like you soon. Okay, take it easy, guys. And if anyone wants to lighten up the conversation for when we come back, that's absolutely fine. I feel like it's been quite a heavy first half. But you know, I always welcome those kinds of conversations, and this is a safe space, and it's okay to speak here. But maybe we should go back to farts and boobies after this. I don't know what you'll think. Anyway, I'll be back in just a mo or two. Okay, we're back. We operate on a wide range of colours, even in conversations, from poop to neurodiversity to murder trees. Yes, yes, we do. But that's kind of why I like these Wednesday afternoons. You know, we've got a sort of, obviously we've got our, I want to say, our usual suspects. And we've got quite a nice little group here, and it's nice that we can, you know, sort of bounce about between topics and one thing and another. I really like that about the Wednesdays. So what are we all having for dinner? Oh, Rika is here. Okay. I'm okay, thanks, Heath. I'm not great, but I'm here, and I'm much happier for being in the stream than I was earlier. Green Hat was going to make lasagna, run out of cheese milk. Oh no! Oh no! Mary doesn't know what she's eating. Fish cakes and salad for her dinner, so she means lunch by that. For anyone that's not a northerner. Cow's going to Uber eat a McDonald's. Oh no! Now I have a load of mince with no destiny. This is like, things need to serve a purpose, don't they? Thea's having a bad food day, so no idea what to do. Good old mince and chips. Spag bol yesterday. It's yesterday's leftover mince. Mr. Hat doesn't like kidney beans, so chili's a bit no. You can do it without kidney beans, though. Might end up being mince and mash, now you're talking. Mince and onion pie. Oh, that's a lot of work, though. Pastry. Dirty rice is an option. No. I'm going to crowdsource dinner options more often. See, we're full of good suggestions. It's already in the tomato sauce, but it's giving me ideas for the other pack in the freezer. I'm glad you're getting some suggestions here. That's good. Love it. Lucy's having bread with ham and cheese since it's lunchtime. Zero will to cook at the moment. Understand that. I had a notion. I bang on about having fish finger wraps all the time. We're gonna have that for dinner tonight. But I managed to get the frozen pizzas, so it's Crosta Malika pizzas, and they're really really nice. They're so good. And I got some because I get my shopping order, like my grocery order, on a Wednesday in the morning. And one's just been kind of winking at me, so I said to Mr. Jem earlier, "Do you mind if we have pizza tonight?" Which we often do on a live stream night, and he's like, "Yes." Like, he will eat anything though, as long as it doesn't have mushrooms in it, he'll eat it. So unfortunately for me, it's boring pizza. I've said this before as well. A lot of my more creative cooking, because I do like to cook, tends to come in days when I'm not live streaming. They are. They're the closest thing I think that you can get to an Italian pizza here in the UK. You know, from a supermarket, I mean. Right, so I want to get this. Let me just put this clip is not it, but we're going to go for it anyway. I want to get this tree trunk done in the background. I finished off these leaves in my own time. So I want to go with my original plan. I was having a think about the colours that we talked about before. Let me just pop this up here now that my pencils are all nice and in order. So I was going to go with Fern and then the oak pencil as well. So I'm just going to grab them. Felt green, no. Fern, there it's there. See, there we go. Easy selection, no problem. I say spectacles are handy, which is what we need right now. Oh, these are filthy, my God. Need to clean the specs, everyone. So what I want to do is here, I want to put a layer of the fern down, which is the more greenish colour, not activate it, and then put the oak on top, and then just be selective with my water brush. So we're just going to go for it. And this is going to look really green. So when I'm laying this down, I'm just going to go with the grain of the trunk. And not taking much care because I do want that sort of grainy effect to be a thing. Maybe a thing. So we'll just get that down and see how it goes. Yes, Thea, I would like to know that. Pizza. Pizza. They're just available in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. Yeah, I meant to say, I need to check out the. Remember, we were talking about the chocolate situation? You need to tell me what the chocolate's called because I think we might have the same one here. Fun fact, Jem, you've had the Ink House book for 7 years, have I? Okay. That's good to know. I love this book, like I really do. I was talking to another YouTuber, I was messaging another YouTuber and we were just talking about things in general and I was saying like my videos have really dropped off just because priorities, live streaming's a lot easier for me because I don't need to edit things. I mean, I could edit the live streams, but I don't. I just leave them as they are. And it's kind of just suiting my lifestyle a bit better just now. But we were talking about trends and it's something that I have never, and because it's what, 8 years I've been doing YouTube now. I have never followed the trends ever. And I'm like that in my entire life. I don't like following trends. I just like to do what I want to do. And it makes you unpopular in terms of videos and stuff, but honestly, it's just not a thing for me. And one of the things I really liked about the Ink House was it was never meant to be a colouring book. Like that was kind of half the appeal. Like rebel through and through. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit just so you can see some more of these. I've got to take my glasses off to do that though, because I'm long sighted. Right, okay, that looks kinda good. We'll go there. You're doing better than me. You got them in the same order and I'm yet to do a single picture. Chocure is one of the brands that's really good. They have a coffee and a chocolate bar. Oh no. No, 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 no. Jules, I'm convinced there's like a wee monster that comes. Because normally my reading glasses just sit beside my bed. During the day because I work at the desk and or have an iPad or a phone, you can zoom in and out. Or if I'm working on a laptop, I can sit a bit further away. It's not a huge issue. But I go through to bed at night and there's a dirty, great big like smudgy mark right in the middle of the lens, and I'm like, how did that get there? I'm convinced there's a wee monster that comes and just has his fun with it or her fun with it when I'm not looking. Pretty sure I saw something about YouTube algorithm changes making it harder for creators. Oh, it's been like that for ages though, Jules. The one that I've seen more recently is about views, and they're basically counting views from the second that someone clicks onto your videos. It's more to do with shorts, which obviously I don't do on YouTube, which I probably should if I wanted to earn more money from it, but genuinely not that interested, not that bothered. I don't know. The thing is though with YouTube now, and again something I've talked about quite a lot is what keeps the cave afloat and gives me like a little bit of pocket money every month. It's the shop, it's the stash shop, it's not YouTube. It used to be YouTube. You can't earn on YouTube the way you used to unless you've got a bajillion subscribers with lots of views now. But they are really pushing the short format videos, which is fine. And I enjoy short form videos, and I frequent TikTok quite a lot now. And Instagram has basically just turned into reels. It's not you see very few photographs compared to um you know videos now, which is fine as well. And I should maybe spend some time going to that format but it's just not that important to me, honestly. I mean, the cave was never meant to be a full-time occupation, and it's not. But we're profitable enough as long as you'll keep buying things occasionally from the stash shop. The cave supports itself and all the things that we need. And a really good example of that is see the cost to run the website domain and the stash shop. It's nearly £400 a year. It's a lot of money, and it's not just that on its own. There's other costs that are tacked onto that. So I have to be able to cover that. Even if I just wanted to do it as a hobby, and keep things the way that it is, I have to cover that initially. But thankfully we're doing more than that, which is great. I'm not interested in, trying to be this sort of art influencer or, like sell my art through social media. That's not what it's about for me. It's a secondary thing that just has grown legs over the 8 years, and I'm perfectly happy with it being that way. But I will never conform to just following a trend. It's like all of a sudden all these people are trying a product or whatever. It's never going to happen with me. Because I've never been that person. I'm the same with films, I'm the same with books, I'm the same with clothes. I do what I want to do because it feels good or I like it. Not just because it's a thing on the internet. And I don't think that's ever going to change, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to take that. Patty likes the purple scarf. It is very regal, isn't it? It's very good, very good. So as I've been yattering away here, you can see what I'm doing. I'm being very sort of lax with what's going where. That is fully intentional. We have lots of guidance with the tech. Chuck's having a little grumble to himself. We have a lot of guidance with the texture on this tree trunk, which is lovely. But all I'm doing is building up the colour between these two pencils. So that is the fern and the oak pencils. And once I'm happy with what I've got, then I'll go in with the water brush selectively and activate certain sections to get what I want out of this. I really want this bottom edge to be really rich though, so definitely going to take the water brush in there. Again, this is about contrast. We want contrast. Muy importante. I'll give myself a wee sharpen here because I like a pointy point for these things. Hi, Katara. I didn't see you sneak in either, or Guitar, as we're going to call you now. I am not a big chocolate lover. I don't really have a sweet tooth, though. I am a savoury person. Love the savoury stuff. I talked about the chocolate in the UK now. We used to have elite chocolate, and it's all gone to the dogs now. So I can kind of I can take it or leave it. Like I can just do without it now. I'm like, nah. Not that bothered. Mr. Jem loves chocolate though. He can't have a lot of it though, it gives him a sore head, but he still likes it. Yeah, see if you dump like a loaf of like exotic bread or some pasta down in front of me, it's all over, like forget it. Fine with sweets and chocolate though. Can take them or leave them. Can exert a degree of decorum with these things. I've got in the fridge just now a selection of lovely like Italian antipasti, and some mozzarella balls that are in with some sunblush tomatoes, and I just want to eat the whole tub in one go. I could easily give up the pizza just to eat that, but trying to keep on top of the calorie intake, behave myself. So trying to behave with that, but I find it much more difficult with savoury things than I do with sweet things. Although I have to say, though, one of the things that's really doing it for me just now is Chupa Chups lollipops. I got like a big bumper bag in like an online sale, and See, if I want something sweet, you can have one of those lollipops and they're like 45 calories. I am on a very reduced calorie intake. So if I do want something sweet, they're perfect because if you don't bite it, it takes ages to eat one and it satisfies that little craving. So they've been a lifesaver for me, you know, if I'm having a sort of sweet craving moment. It's just the fact that it's very few and far between for me. But they've been quite handy dandy. I'm really enjoying this paper. This was a good idea, I like that. I do feel that I want more of the darker colour in around old Charlie here. Again, when I go in with my water brush, I will pick out the darker pencil to activate and make that more vibrant. Ooh. Oh, we're talking about Kens and Barbies now. I was never really into that. Oh, Jeanette's back. Hi, Jeanette. Ken was a wimp. Yeah, I was never really I had one Barbie and it was United Colours of Benetton Barbie. She had the red felt hat. Um she was super stylish. I wanted her for her clothes though, not to play with a Barbie. I didn't play with Barbies. It just wasn't my thing at all. Um Never had a Ken doll. Yeah, that's so I'm more like this kind of thing going on, so I'm going to continue that one down here. So I'm just going to work away at this. Slightly more blunt pencil as well. There's no need for defined lines at this point. Two designs sewn out with two children. Now I get to sit and watch Paw Patrol for a while. Oh, do you know? Ulrika had Lego and Meccano as a kid. Well, we had Lego and my brother, so my brother's my half brother, so him and I share Papa Gem, not Mama Gem. And he's 4 years older than me. So he was really into Lego Technic, which is kind of like a nice halfway house between Meccano and Lego. And I was party to that as well. Um, Obviously I still love Lego now. I haven't bought any Lego for a while. I've got sets that I still haven't built, but I'm kind of out of space, so that's kind of on the back burner. But yes, I had lots and lots of Lego as a child. Wasn't really into dolls. Although we talked about this before, but Sylvanian families, that was my thing. Oh my goodness, they were my favourite. Again, animals, unsurprisingly. None of you will be shocked to hear that. Okay, I think this side of the trunk's looking pretty wholesome. I'm kind of like, do I want to activate this at all? Maybe not at this point. When my cousins and I played Lego together, they would act out wars and whatnot, and I built a hospital for the wounded and the doctors for the skeletons. Amazing. Sarah has just fetched her Ariel and Cinderella down from the loft. Oh, yeah, there'd have been none of that with me. Okay. I like this really knobbly bobbly bit here. This makes me happy. Okay, let's get the knobbly bobbly bit in. We have a wee sharpen here as well. Sharpeners get quite filthy. Pop this out. The Duplo covers the lounge floor. Duplo, yes. There's some amazing Duplo sets now. Again, they're because they're Lego adjacent. I do see them on the Lego website because I get Lego emails, like marketing emails, at least on a daily basis now. But some of the Duplo sets are amazing. Right, I'll give my firm pencil a wee sharpen. Puppy in my pocket. Oh yes, Puppy in my pocket. I remember them. My goodness, there's a throwback. I think it was a division of Polly Pocket. Nah, no, they were separate because you bought them in little packs. It wasn't the same thing, I don't think. They might have been made by the same company, right enough. Hot Wheels, Meccano, Easy Bake Oven, Creepy Crawler Maker, and tons of board games. I was like sent straight back into my childhood. I was again. This was on Reddit, but I do like Reddit. And we were talking about. I think the topic. I think the topic was things that you had a child as a child that took too long to set up, so you ended up like not playing with them. So the number one answer for that was the board game Mousetrap. Um, But my friend, I didn't have the board game. My friend had a board game, and I couldn't, like, we were really small. We were like 4 or 5, but there was a board game, and it was something to do with dinosaurs, and there was like red counters. So I mentioned this in this thread, and I was like, I remember that we probably didn't even know how to play the board game because we were so small. But there's all these plastic inserts that went into like the board, and there was like all these plastic dinosaurs and stuff. And this guy came up and he was like, "This is the board game that you're talking about." So, of course, I went and Googled it and I was like, "Oh my, that's it." And I hadn't thought about that since I was small. And it was like instant nostalgia. And it was like, it was called like Valley of the Lost Dinosaurs or something. And it was so amazing, but it instantly made me want to go onto eBay and try and buy one. I'm like, what am I going to do with it, really? But I like a good board game. Even now, I like board games. I'm always happy to play board games. But do you know that way when you don't think about something like that and instantly it takes you back to being like a really small person? I was like, oh, this is amazing. Couldn't even tell you what the objective was in the board game or anything, but there was something to do with the volcano, I think. Yeah, there was kitties in my there was kitties in my pocket and puppies in my pocket. The puppies came first and the cats came later. Mousetrap was a lot of work. I loved Mousetrap though. The other one we had as well, and again I don't know whether it was in other countries, we had Screwball Scramble, so it was kind of like a pinball game, but it was like an assault course and there was a timer, and the timer was unnerving because it went tick, tick, tick. Loved Mousetrapped. Loved the original Game of Life. The modern version is digital banking and it's just not the same thing at all. Loved Game of Life. Used to play that a lot. Go for Broke. That was another one. You try to lose all your money instead of win your money. Loved Screwball Scramble. Woo! My favourite games were Talisman and Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. Awesome. Oh no, I say I still love a good board game. The only board game that Mr. Jem likes to play is Monopoly, and he likes to play it because he always beats me, and it's mostly through luck. It's not strategy, and that's what enrages me and why I don't want to play it with him. Like I'm not a sore loser, but he always wins, but it's never through like strategic means. It's just like literally because he's lucky with the dice, and it pisses me off. Like it really does, it pisses me off. Operation. Papa Jem's really good at Operation. Monopoly, Cluedo. I like Cluedo as well, but it always takes 3 people to play. And again, Mr. Jem's not like he's not a Cluedo player. Mama Jem liked Cluedo or Clue if you're in the US and Canada, I think. Um, so that didn't get played very often. And no one wants to play Scrabble with me because I'm really good at Scrabble. Again, Mama Jem would play Scrabble with me. But Scrabble, it was one of those games that I liked, but we just never. I wasn't, we would sooner have Monopoly whipped out than Scrabble. There's, I went down a TikTok rabbit hole. You're gonna love this. If any of you are around my age, you'll know what I'm talking about. There used to be a game called Dream Phone. And there is a lady on the internet who has made it her mission to track down the the Dream Phone boys that were on the cards, and she's trying to find out who they are and get in touch with them, and it is absolutely hilarious. Obviously none of them are actually called what they were in the Dream Phone game, like on their cards. But she's got in touch with loads of them, and most of them don't know that they were like an institution in a certain age group's youth, and it's really, really funny. That's been very entertaining in a weird nostalgic kind of way. Ah, I never said that's one of those rabbit holes of like how did I get here? But here I am. Oh, because that was again Dream Phone. It wasn't a game that I had. That was one of more of the like sort of flashy, expensive board games. But my friends had them, and the other one was Mall Madness. I don't know if anyone remembers that. And there was this great big board, and you put in all these bits and bobs. Again, couldn't tell you really what you had to do, other than there was cards and stuff involved. But I remember that one as well. But the Dream Phone thing, that had me in stitches. I've just coloured in one of the arches. I thought that was a branch. God damn it. I don't think you'll notice that up there though. Trying to see what's going on down here. I don't know if I want to put water in it. What do you think, guys? I think we just leave that alone. You're looking quite dapper, quite handsome there. Oh, that's a really good point, Thea. Playing Scrabble in English, that would be a challenge for you. I think Isa. Yeah, I think we should maybe just like sometimes it's better just to leave things alone. I'm not going to do anything with they're obviously in like a conservatory or an orangery or what some other glass enclosed structure. I kind of want to leave the rest of the background alone. So I want to concentrate on the chair and the top hat and his eyes, and then I want to call it done at that. One of the things that I don't want to do with these pages is overwork them because again they were never intended to be a colouring book. But if you look back through in the things that we've done, it's not like you have to colour all the things. It's make it, like the rabbit here at the top, he didn't need any colour. He's fine as he is. So I kind of want to continue that. It's a bit more of like the less is more sort of approach. That this one's a really good example, that because this is all the ink, this is the print kind of thing. So I wasn't going to put any colour in and all this kind of stuff. So I want to kind of keep that theme throughout. So I don't want to touch the background here. For the chair, I want to use like a dark warm brown for the wood, and I think this cushion should be red. Hello, Daria. Yeah, you've kind of sneaked in at the end. I'm glad to see you all the same. I was thinking about you the other day as well. I have a cork board that's pinned to this same wall where the camera is. It's above the desk where I keep all the work in progress stuff. It's getting really cluttered, and I want to take it all off and put it into the Big Book of Gratitude, which is basically just like a scrapbook. And there's lots of wee bits and pieces from Daria there. That's like, I was reading one of your notes the other day, Dan, and I was like, I wonder how she's doing. I've not seen her for a wee while, so I'm glad that you popped in. That's really good. But that's a job for another day, and it's a job I can't do on camera because there's quite a lot of personal information because people have sent me notes, and there's addresses and things that I would have to like cover up and all the rest of it. So that's something that definitely has to be done off camera. Cal, this is why I haven't touched my copy. It intimidates me. But less is more. Like, you don't have to. Honestly, it's a bit like grayscale colouring books. You can put the tiniest hint of colour down and everything looks fabulous. Like 10 out of 10 would recommend. You don't have to do much. Right, so I would just like to do the chair before we finish up. And then I feel as if we've been relatively productive today. So madder brown might be too dark. Just get my wee Yeah, I'm gonna go madder. Just get a layer of this down. I want to keep it quite light though. I don't want it to overpower everything else. Say Charlie needs to be front and centre, especially with his majestic top hat on. Yeah, there was a colouring heaven magazine edition I did. I had a couple for sale at one point. They're all gone now though because it was quite a long time ago. And there was quite a few select pictures. That would have been a great option for you. But honestly, like there's nothing to be scared about. It's things like this that really make this book because you've got to remember that the Ink House is like a sort of neglected, tumble down, big sort of stately home stroke almost castle. So the fact that there's there's this lovely like sunroom or conservatory or whatever it is, and there's this chap here with his top hat and a big exotic plant, but the chair that he's sitting on is kind of like the upholstery's hanging in bits, like that just encompasses the feel of the place perfectly. I love all these little details. And it's one of the reasons I really, really like this book. It resonates a lot with me because I've always lived in old houses and there's always something that's falling down. It's really nice. I like it a lot. So I'll just get a wee layer down. So again, what I'm going to do is just pop this light layer down and activate it with water and let it dry. And then I can go back in with the pencil with a pointy point and I can darken down some areas just to get a little bit more dimension. I mean, the hatching kind of does it for you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you actually don't have to do anything at all other than put colour on the paper if you don't want to. But I like to take it that wee tiny step further. Just a wee bitty further. There's this wee bit in behind his leg there. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna go for the large round brush here. This one's been causing me issues as well recently. I'm having problems with these brushes. Um, to be fair, they've sat and done nothing for quite a while, so. The hat also looks well loved. Yes, it's obviously been well worn. So let's just look at the difference though, like, bam! So we'll just give that a wee shoosh down there like that, and then we go shoosh, shoosh, shoosh across the way. So we'll try and avoid little section. So there's an example, that back leg there, that's an area where I would go back in with the pencil dry and make that look, a lot darker, because obviously it's in behind. Get this. The other thing as well is if you're using these Inktense pencils, if you do activate it with water and you decide it's a bit too intense, Inktense, intense, if the colour's a bit too much, you can always go in with one of the greys to like mute it down and not put any water on it. And that can be the difference between an outrageous wood colour and something that's a bit more realistic. There is always that option. So I just really like these pencils. I like the Graphy Tint pencils as well, but they serve a very specific purpose, whereas I feel like the Inktense pencils are a lot more versatile because you can use them in conjunction with your everyday coloured pencils. So you can use these as a base and activate them, let it dry, and then you can go over them with like common or garden colour pencils, and you can get some really nice finishes with that. So a wee bit in here. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, so lovely. So lovely. And don't you hate it when work interferes with your stolen moments of pleasure? That's every day for me, like every single day. That is very true. Jules is saying that if you're really quick, if it's still wet, you can soak it up with a bit of tissue. That is, it's difficult to do. Like, you do have to be quite speedy if you're working with these You can move them, not the same, like you can't lift it the same way as you'd lift watercolour. You can move them about a bit, but you're very limited. And specifically in this colouring book, it's not a colouring book. Paper was never designed for it, so you're kind of beat before you start. It's not impossible, but it's definitely a struggle. Okie dokie. I think what I'll do now is there's only a few bits to finish. I'll probably finish this off in my own time, and I'll maybe post it somewhere. I don't know where that somewhere is. I would like to show you, if I can find it before we finish up, my sketchbook. Just step round Jock's legs there. He's in his bed, but he's like flat out on his side. All his paws are sticking out into the passageway. I did finish the lantern wash picture. So the logic behind this was I actually wanted to put more detail in. This is quite simplistic for me for gouache, but I was just having one of those days where I just wanted to finish a picture, like to say I'd finished a picture. So I did want to do more, but this is the finished lantern, and I've put a tiny little dude in the corner there just peeking out. Papa Jem told me he was really creepy, and I'm like, he's so small though, like he's cute, he's not creepy. Papa Jem did not agree with me at all. So that was the finished lantern gouache, but also I started this picture of a lighthouse ages ago. I finally finished that the other day as well in gouache. So I have been, this is what I've been doing in my doodle half hours. I'm kind of on a bit of a gouache kick again. I get this from time to time, but I've got my little travel gouache kit set up now, and because we're harvesting, the flies aren't as bad later in the evening, so I'm going to take my little travel kit and go and sit around the farm and do some more gouache stuff. So there's going to be lots of that to come. I just wanted to show you, like, I have been arting, I haven't been slacking off. But I want to do more of that in the next couple of weeks before the clocks change at the end of October, because then it's going to be dark all the time, and then there's no fun. Yeah, he's definitely a good guy, not a creepy or bad one. Reminds you of a suit sprite. Pink Panther theme. I don't know, I just felt I didn't want to start, because I'd put the mushrooms in. Because I had these wee kind of like glowy mushrooms in, and I wanted to put something there, but I just felt like the contour and the shadow is so nice, and that, like, I'm really proud of that bit. If you look specifically at that little branch, and I was like, I don't want to start putting leaves or anything on it, and I was like, I know, I'll just put a little like a little beanie dude in there, and he can peek out. And I was like, oh, that's cute, and Papa Jem was like, oh my god, that's horrendous, that's really creepy. It's like, what? So yes, yes, but overall, yeah, quite happy with it. If I'd wanted to spend more time on, I think this is quite important to talk about as well. Let me just move Charlie out the road. He needs to waft about and dry a wee bit. So if we're talking about actual process, if I wanted to spend more time on this particular painting, the things I would have done are, I would have put more detail in the tree trunk and the bark. I would have put more like dark spots in, and more irregularities around that. I would have also put some more weathering on the lantern itself, on the metal part, but also on the glass as well. You're never going to get pristine glass. If something like that's hanging off a branch in a forest, the glass is never going to be clean. So I might have used like more like orangey, like golden yellow colours, and made the panes like a little bit more distressed or old looking kind of thing. And I might have put some more detail in at the bottom. I didn't want to take away from this glow onto this side, so I deliberately didn't bring the plant silhouettes any further. And I really like that you can just see the corner of this plant like peeking out, like it's just in the line of vision because of the light and no more. So I probably wouldn't have changed that, but I think maybe like down in this area I would have done more. And these cute little sort of vines that kind of look like grapes, but no, I would probably have added a bit more of those in round about. So it wasn't a case of, oh, this is me, I think I'm finished, but I was just having one of those days where I wanted to feel as if I'd accomplished something and finished a painting. So that's why I stopped where I did. But I'm probably going to do this as a video. I really need to get back into filming videos and get myself into that pattern. So if I was going to do that, I would do it on loose paper, and I would take this concept and probably push it a bit further. Obviously at cutting the video down just to show the important bits. So I just think it's nice to talk about process sometimes as well, because I always think that social media now, especially for artwork and painting, it's so heavily curated and edited. And sometimes it's okay. This is in my sketchbook. It was the first time I was doing it, and I was more concerned about my proportions and my dimensions of things like this, because I'm very much an organic shape, like wibbly wobbly lines kind of person. And these lines here I did freehand with a liner brush. And this one you can see there's a bit of a bend in that. That was really important for me, because when I'm drawing, I've never used a ruler. I've always tried to draw as straight a line as possible. Painting with a brush is no exception. So that was a really good lesson and exercise for me in that. But yeah, I just feel like everything's so curated, and especially on Instagram. I mean, the stuff is beautiful and everyone's, so talented. But there's middle steps that people just don't see, and this for me is a middle step. But I would be perfectly happy for all those nosy people that are like, can I look in your sketchbook? I'd be like, yeah, sure. So I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration. I hope you like it. And even if you think the little dude's creepy, then that's fine. But I like to talk about these things too, so there's that. Papa Gem's wrong. I like it when Papa Gem's wrong. Can I say how much I enjoy seeing you in a thumbnail? And it's like you're talking to. But this is the thing, Jeanette. Like these Wednesdays, especially, there is a core group that come every week. We've got all our usual suspects. This is a very comfortable, safe space, and it's not really about me going, "Oh, this is what we're going to do with art." It's just a place for us to all come and hang out and to say thank you. And obviously, we'd love to have you again anytime you can join us. Ulrika uploads my straight line. Well, we wouldn't call them straight, Ulrika, but they're almost straight. Little Peeper. Is that just what we're going to call them? The Little Peeper? I love that. Little Peeper might appear in some other gouache paintings then, and that's just what we'll call him stroke them. Can we use Little Peepers as a collective term as well? Is that okay? I think that's a great idea. That's like when I talk about the babies on the farm. It doesn't matter whether it's lambs, piglets, calves. They're all wee squackies until they get bigger, because that's what they do. They just go. So we call them wee squackies. Yeah, little peepers. Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call it there. So I've always got stuff to do. Thank you so much for this afternoon. As I say, I wasn't feeling. I mean, I still don't feel great, but I really wasn't feeling all that wonderful when we started, and you guys have perked me up no end. I've really enjoyed the conversations today as well. We had a little chat about food as well, and I got excited about my pizza, which is nice. But lovely to have you all here, and glad to get Charlie moved on a wee bit. We're not far from finishing him now. So thanks so much once again, guys. There will be a stream again next Wednesday. In terms of filming, I'm just not making any commitments just now. Harvest is out the window for the moment because we keep getting wet. And say hospital visits, one thing and another, and all the other usual stuff which you all know about. But thank you so much for being here. Lots of pink udder hands for everyone. Yay! And oh, just before we go, don't disappear, everyone. I am probably most likely going to have to produce a calendar for my local village this year. I always do the Christmas card for my local post office, and we're really struggling to get photographs of season specific times of year around the village, because we're very temperate here. If anyone at all that's in the chat would be interested in painting or drawing a picture, if I give them a reference image to be featured in our calendar, please let me know, because I don't think I can do it all alone, because I made this suggestion to the postmistress that instead of struggling to try and get photos and catch the weather, that if we had reference photos, we could draw or paint images. So you could take a picture of the town square, and anyone who's even remotely artistic would be able to make that into an autumn scene or a winter scene or whatever. If anyone is interested in anything like that, um, please let me know. I'm going to try and do most of them myself, but if I could have help, that would be great. Jan did contribute last year. She did help me a little bit, which is great. You will get a copy of the calendar, and I will reimburse you for postage costs, etc. Unfortunately, can't afford to pay anyone to create the pictures, so it's not a commission. But if anyone would like to help me out with that, please get in touch with me. I don't want to open it up too wide because obviously I'd be giving away my precise location, which I don't know if I'm entirely comfortable with. But if that's something that someone thinks they would like to do, it would be like landscape drawings or paintings, architectural paintings, that kind of thing. How long do we have time for that? Basically, the calendar needs to be in the post office by the end of November, so we've got lots of time. People are going, ooh, ooh. Okay, we'll maybe talk about it further. I'll probably mention it again. I just wanted to bring it up at this point. I know this is only the middle of August, but between that and the Christmas card, it's terrible, but I have to start thinking about it now. So we'll talk about it a wee bit more. I'll bring it up in the Discord as well for any of you who are in the Discord. If you're not, or Thea a shout, just let us know. Thea, can you stick my email address and the cave generic email address in the chat, please, if you don't mind? If anyone wants to join in. The Discord's relatively busy, relatively lively. So I'm an ocean and 2 land masses away. I can't stalk you, but technology's a wonderful thing. Oh. Yes, anyway, so that was worth mentioning for now. I'm glad I remembered about that. Okay, guys, there will be some sort of cave activity in between now and next Wednesday. I'm not going to specify what that is because I'm not entirely sure. I've got a bit more of a clear weekend though, so I'll be spending some time on that. So, thank you very much, Thea. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you back in the cave really soon for another video or another live stream. Please enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays, and once again, I appreciate you all because I actually feel a lot better than I did earlier, and I love you all for that very much. Okay, so we'll see you all again, and bye for now, everyone.